Hey everyone, so this whole thing started with a video call from my friend Walid. He needed a radial gradient in OSL for a shot he was working on. I created one for him. And then a curiosity bug started building in my head. I looked at Mac's built-in gradient ramp and thought, why not build the whole thing in OSL? Plus, if you ever use the built-in ramp inside a Tyflow setup, you already know the pain. In certain situation, it wipes your cache every time you scrub back to frame 0. This one doesn't. So this is Gradient Ramp Pro. 11 gradient types, a full modifier stack, and a custom UI interface, which feels like it's a Max texture. But it's basically an OSL. It's very lightweight, renderer friendly, and it doesn't disturb Tyflow by any means. Now, before I walk through into the Gradient Ramp Pro, I would like to say that this whole interpolation system, like if you see this max ramp, color ramp, and this point in position, value, and interpolation, this whole thing is implemented from Zap Andersson's OSL curves. You see, it's exact same, except for this part, it's exact same. You can see over here, it's the same, right? So huge thanks to Zap. His work is what made this possible. Else I have no idea how to do max ramp. It's really a little difficult to get that thing right. But yeah, huge thanks to Zap. His work is what made it possible. Okay, so let me show you what it does. If you open, let's say if you open a standard max gradient ramp. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Yeah, here it is. What I've done is I've implemented all this gradient type as much I can do. I think I've ignored the lighting and the normal because for some reason I don't know how to do that. But the other parts I have tried to implement that, and four corners. I have no idea why that four corners are there. So, but other than this three, I have implemented all of them, and I have gone little bit way ahead than this settings. I have created different parameters for the same. So let's start. Let me explain you what I've done over here. Okay, so we start with the linear, which is the basic linear gradient in x-axis, or you can say, because we are in UV layout, we can say U layout. And yeah, so this is a simple linear gradients, and you can see that you can add all the new swatches over here. That's the same thing as color curves, but other than that, you have rotation over here. So I can literally rotate this linear gradient. You can see this angle parameter is almost there for everyone except for the radial, because it doesn't make any sense in doing any kind of angles in that, right? Because it's all round, right? But yeah, so you can rotate that. Then you have this tiny tile function, which is an amazing addition I've done in this. It's basically creates a concentric rings, or in linear situation it will repeat the linear. If I remove this will clamp from 0 to 1. So you can see now if I rotate this, you will not see any kind of seam or anything like that. Now in this you can also add a UV layout. So let's say USL max, and I will add UV transform. I can create a UV, and then what I can do is I can have this wrap, and I can decrease this to 2.0, and you get this grid layout, right? You can also do tiling over here, which is nice. This is a UV tiling. What tile you see over here is not a UV tiling. This is basically a concentric rings. Moving on from Radiant, you can also, let's still stay at Radiant. Let's remove this because it's a little bit weird right now. So if I have this tile on, and the frequency will add more and more tile into it. So if I can write 10, and you can see I get 10. Now with this on, you see there is a visible seam over here. Okay, so when I do mirror, what it does, it gives you a ping pong effect and it removes that seam. And with this, you can also have offset, which will move infinitely the way you want it. This whole tie looks amazing with other gradient types, which I'll show you in the next later on. But let's stop this right now for a while. Let's go and focus on the next gradient type, which is the radial. Radial is again the simple one. And let's say if I give let's create this black and white. Actually, let's do this. Let's go with the black and let's go with the white, so that right. And what we can do is we can apply this to a displacement, which I've already do a displace, and let's have some kind of 3. Where is this? It's so good. It's good. Oh yeah, you can see. If I 10, you can see the bulge, right? So this is a radial gradient ramp, and now again, if I apply tile to it, you can see what is happening over here, and we increase the cream, and you will suddenly start seeing rings, and again you can give the same kind of feel to it, which creates a ripple. You multiply this with another gradient and you can literally create a water ripple, which damps or smooths out in the outer part of it. We can also, there is another feature with this, which is quantize. Before quantize, let's go in the flow. Actually, I'm pretty excited to go over here, but yeah, let's go with the flow. You have U and V offset, which actually offsets you can see it offsets the position of the gradient. If I think this will be better to showcase. Yeah, if you see it offsets you can see over here also in the displays. This is radial gradient. Then we have box. It's the same as radial gradient, but it gives you a box gradient. In box, we also have size U and V, which you can create a rectangular box. Again, you see I can create this rectangular box. And with tile on, we can also have this motion layer. You can see this, how it generates, right? Then I have a diagonal gradient, which is a diagonal gradient, but it's not the simple linear diagonal gradient, whereas the source starts from 0 in the middle and then it diagonally fills it up to 1. I have sweep, which I don't know where it is, but let's not, the sweep, yeah, the sweep is basically a fan kind of gradient. You can see the sweep. You can see even in gradient ramp we have sweep, which is the same thing, see, right? So I tried to create that. The sweep, the good part about sweep is that if you move this to the center, right now the sweep starts from, even if you move to the U center and you give tile to it, it fills it up. You rotate this to 90, maybe you can see what I get. And you can also have this lovely effect, you see, and you can see what it does over here. It's amazing, see. Let's move on from sweep. We have spiral. This is another beautiful spiral effect. Let's again the spiral effect also gets affected by offset. You can change them, the angle, you can do that. But the spiral has some extra parameters, which is interesting to see. You have spiral 1, so you have only one spiral, but you can have more spirals. You can see I can have more spirals, right? See? And with this, you can rotate them if you want. Right? There is also something called tile, which will create lots of spiral actually. Let's go with one right now. Mirror it up. A mirror won't work in spiral in this situation, yeah. And then you can, offset will just rotate the spiral. Let's remove tile. But the other good part of it is, like, if I have this one spiral and if I give a curvature, and you can see it suddenly starts building a vortex kind of feel to it, right? And again, if I have a tile over here, if I give a frequency of 2 and mirror it, and you get a smooth vortex, you can see how it is. And then you can just make it go, and it will go on growing. You can add a UV layout to that, and you can see I built so many different, I grid it up, right? So yeah, so this is spiral, which, let's go back to default. Let's remove this right now. We don't need anything. Now we have Pong. Pong works exactly like sweep, but instead of black to white like the sweep function over here, it basically goes from black, comes in the middle to white, and then white to black. So it's like a ping pong sweep. Tartan, this was a bit difficult thing to do because I don't know what it is, but then we can see what it is. It's some kind of, you see, it's some kind of played effect which it generates. Then mapped is, you can feed in a map and it will work. So let's say if I have a noise map, and if I feed the float into map input, right? Now I can change the color of it. This is exactly how the gradient ramp source works, right? You can change the color of it, and you can do whatever you want to do about it, right? You can also use style in this situation also, and creates more and more rings to it. You can see this, and you get this nice feel to it. Let me decrease this. We go there, you go. And you can see what I can generate out of this, right? Again, the same thing, you have this, and the ring grows infinitely. So yeah, so mapped is, I've shown you that map. Then we move on from map to two of my favorite types. One is shape, which gives you shape. This is something I like what I did. So you have sides over here, so you can create a triangle by, if when you do one side, it will by default only create 3 sides minimum. It will not create one. One is for the other gradient type. I'll show you in the next, after I finish the shape. Then we have square, then we have hexagon, pentagon, hexagon. I don't have no clue what is this called, but yeah, octagon, and so on, right? So you can go till 32, but yeah, that's the point. Again, the same thing, you tile this, and you can create multiple copies of it, and you get this effect over here. You can mirror them, and then they smooth out the way you want it. Whatever you can do, you can think about it, right? So we have star, and this is my favorite, the star. I get star. If I create this, I create to 10, you can see I am building a star. Let's go a little bit more, 15. And you can see, there you go, the star. Now the star has this 3 settings over here, 3 parameters: spikiness, linear, and curvature, transition between linear and curvature of the spikiness, and how many sides you want in a star. So you can have one side which does nothing over here, but for example, if you remove this and you come down to 0, and you increase a bit, you can see you get some kind of leaf kind of structure over here. Right. With this, you can get more and more of it, right? See? So yeah, so you have this, you can increase to 2, 3, and get this. You don't want curve, but you want which is this? Yeah, you can make the spikiness to 0.308, and there you go. You get some kind of Mercedes logo. You can have tile, and you can feel. Now you can feel what I'm doing over here, right? If you can give colors to it, let's go to red. Let's go some kind of green and typical blue. Okay. Yeah, so let's have this kind of thing over here, and now with this you can have different sides. You can also have this spikiness, which is but you can see it grows into this nice feel to it. So if I go spiky to 0.8, now if I turn this down to curvature, and you can see what it does. See? And these are these are completely animated parameters, so you can transition it the way you want it. Again, with this you can create this one less and do whatever you want to do with it. Make it less, spike, make it more curve, and you get yourself a nice flower design. See, you can even now with these are all different kinds of. You experiment by yourself, and you will get to know how things work, right? Now, other than that, there are 3 more things which you can do. I can quantize it. Quantize is basically creates bands. So instead of 0 is smooth completely, gradient is completely smooth, but if I go more than 0, this is 1 band, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can see I get different bands. You can see over here how I'm getting this bands over here, right? And you can bias the gradients, so you can have just bias towards 1 or bias towards 0. You can do that. It's very handy in certain scenario. Okay. Even if you don't have quantize, you can still do the bias. See that? Right? Now, I have a noise. I have also given a noise which doesn't distort the whole image, but what it does is it distorts the bands, or it distorts the gradient. So in this situation, let's say for example, if I give noise to this, where is my uber noise? Yeah, so float and give it to noise, right? Once we wire this noise to noise with noise parameter, if you increase and you start getting this, you can see this is not distorting the whole thing, but it's only distorting the gradients, right? If I quantize this, you can see, right? A noise works in every scenario. If you give tile to it, it will work in tile. Mirror them, it will work in mirror. Increase the frequency, it will also work in that spot. Go more, increase more, and you can see what we can do with it, right? So this is briefly what I've tried to explain briefly. Gradient Ramp Pro, right? Now one of the things which I had problem. One of the things which I had problem with with OSL is that it doesn't work with all the renderers. This particular gradient ramp only works with, I have mentioned over here, works with Arnold, V-Ray, CPU, GPU, and Corona, but it does not work with Redshift or Octane. And one of the main reason why it's not working in Redshift and Octane is this UI, the ramp. The ramp, this is a max ramp which is used in OSL. So in standard OSL library, you won't find that. So Redshift are using the standard OSL. And because of that, I created another one, another OSL. So if, like for example, if we go to, let's say if you open OSL map, oh yeah, one more thing which I would like to would be, yes. So you can see this file. What you will get is there are two different kinds of OSL. One is a Gradient Ramp Pro OSL, which is the OSL for Arnold, V-Ray, CPU, GPU, and Corona. Then you have a Gradient Ramp Pro General. General is not this one. This is a UI. Sorry, my bad. Pro General. This one. This works with any OSL. This works with any renderer. It will work with the Redshift also. It will work with Octane also. So you don't have to worry about it. And but this OSL is accompanied with which is a color ramp OSL. So let's see what it does. So I will right now practically, let me turn this to Redshift so that I can show it to you what I'm talking about, right? So if we have a Redshift material, Redshift standard shader, if I put this right over here and I assign this to selection, and let me have a light, dome light, keep this 0. You can see nothing, right? Why? Because it doesn't render, it doesn't understand the ramp of this UI. So for that purpose, I created another same UI, but I removed the ramp and I created a completely another OSL which is called color ramp OSL, which I will explain you. So we have this Redshift and we go to Redshift OSL map. We open the same OSL. You can see over here they have a Gradient Pro General. I open this. Now you can see the UV layout is a vanilla layout completely because it doesn't accept the UI. Redshift doesn't understand even the Qt UI. It doesn't accept automatically. Whereas if you open OSL General OSL map, and if you open the same UI, same Clamp Pro General, you will see it still respects the UI, right? But in Redshift, we have to use Redshift OSL map. Everything is same. Every parameter is same. They just arrange in a more linear fashion, the way you do it OSL. But I have clearly mentioned there's a documentation which you'll find in my link, where I have explained everything, every parameters and everything properly. You can see. You can find this when you purchase this Gradient Ramp Pro. And let's see the Redshift, right? So in this Redshift, now Redshift doesn't have any kind of gradient right now, right? It's just generating a float value from 0 to 1. Right? Now if I introduce another OSL, which is a color ramp general, and this will just give something. Okay, so this is a color ramp I have generated. Now as I cannot use the max UI, max ramp, color ramp, I created a fixed 8 swatch color ramp I thought maybe 8 is good enough, right? And what you can do is you feed this into this T and you feed this into this, and you will suddenly see that it will showcase. Just hold on, and you see, there you go. Now if you don't want, like if you don't want all 8 swatches, and let's say you only want like first and second, so what you can do is you can disable this, you can disable this, you can disable, okay, and you can have this red and yellow and change the position to 1, and you get just 2 colors. You want to introduce another color, you can introduce another color which is right in the middle, you see that, and you get another color in the middle. Now everything else is same. The linear type, you can do radial and you get radial, the tile, mirror. If you increase the frequency, which is 20, and you get this whole thing, right? You go to star, and then you have a spikiness over here. You can make this 0, or you can make this 0.5 or 1, whatever you want. And you can increase the side. Everything is there. It's just that you have to go this way. You can also use this in a normal, in a regular, in Arnold and V-Ray also, if you don't want to use this, because this you can actually animate position. You know, if you want to animate position, you can actually animate the color position in this. Whereas in this situation, this is not an animated parameter, so you cannot animate that part. That's a little drawback with Max Ramp. I can't do anything about that, to be honest. Other than that, yes, this is Gradient Ramp Pro, 11 modes, full modifier stack, and custom UI. Yeah, the link to grab this OSL is given below. You can find, if you find this useful, do consider to subscribe to my channel, because as this is my first video after a long gap, and I have promised a lot of tutorials and videos, so I'm going to plan now designing all those things. So yeah, thank you very much, and Walid, thanks for that call that started all this. So thank you.